Well, my goodness, over these past 20 plus months, a lot of changes have happened with COVID and reassessing what's important in our lives. And my next guest, well, he's going to make you think. He's a very deep thinker. His name is Chris, and Chris Steed wrote the book called The Seven Songs. Glad that you're here, Chris.
Thank you. Nice to be here.
Chris, let's talk about your book and the impact that it's having on people, especially after COVID, of reconsidering what's important in their lives. What is the book about?
Thanks. Well, best way I can answer that is just to read the first paragraph. His
Please.
name was Will, and everything in his diary was cancelled. Shut down, locked down, people down, systems down, countries down, and all in a fragile day. A familiar world was consigned to history. Present lives were swiftly transported into past lives. Of experience to offer, how to shut the globe down like this and prevent it spinning, there was not even a hint. A planet-altering virus had arrived. We had been profoundly humbled. Things were completely out of our control. To try to hold ourselves together, we wanted to recapture what was lost, but there was no reverting to before the great unmooring. So it's about how we do life, how our world hangs together when all the familiar assumptions have been completely upturned. How do we navigate our lives, our world?
Tell me about the seven songs. How does that tie in, and what is it that we're supposed to begin pondering and considering as we think about what's important to us?
So the seven songs is consist of song titles, not actual songs,
Okay.
but these are songs which, if you like, themes, the big themes of existence. So the first song is about creation, this fantastic place that we live in. It's called The Song of Birds and Endless Stars. The second song is about the puzzle of life. I call this the song of the riddler and the riddle. The third song is about community, the longing to belong. I call this the song of the threefold chord. The fourth song is about the oppression in our world. I call this the song of the hunter and the hunted.
Hmm.
Fifth, the song of the court. That's all about calling things out. How much longer will the injustice continue? Next up is the song of the flame that leaps upward, the searching for the ultimate explanation. And lastly, is about hope, the song of diamonds in the dust. So, song
Mm.
titles, each of which hooks into this wonderful ancient manuscript, the book of Ecclesiastes. And it's fantastically rich in terms of asking questions about the big puzzle of life.
And we finally have time. COVID has caused us to stop and think about these things. Why is that so important in our life?
Otherwise, we just carry on doing what we're doing and we don't reflect. We don't ask ourselves those big questions. How does what I believe about the world hang together?
Hmm.
How do I do life?
What do you want people to feel or think when they read your book? Are you looking for them to go through each song theme and get some answers for their own life? What do you want them to do?
Well, this book is several things really. It is about what is our overall belief system, if you will. What is our overall take on the world?
Mhm,
It's intended to be a good read.
mhm.
I did try to make it as poetic, um, as mystical as possible. It's got a lyrical quality.
Yeah.
So it's not just a kind of pretty dry discussion about ultimate themes. It really is intended to be. Whether I've achieved it or not is for others to judge, but certainly I've tried my darndest to make it have a lyrical quality to it.
Hmm. And it's a way to help us make sense of things that are happening that's never happened, at least in our generation, before.
Yeah, I mean, you won't find there's not kind of a political dimension to it. You won't find, a Trump versus Biden sort of narrative. It's nothing. It's not about that. It's not about English politics or that sort of thing. It doesn't get down into such fine-grained detail of life. This is asking ourselves the big questions. How does it hang together?
What did you learn about yourself writing this?
Huh. Great question. This book had been long in gestation, so one thing I could learn is strategic patience. Um, the idea came to me back in 1995, actually, so 25 years ago plus.
Oh, that's big patience.
I was at that strategic patience. I was at it indeed. I was at a conference and I just heard the words "write it, write it." I didn't know what that referred to, but I thought, well, I should start writing something. And um, by the year 2000, I had a very rough cut working draft of what I thought I wanted to say. Sent it off to a publisher who said, well, actually, it's beautifully written, but what is the framing? What is the context? What's the impetus that's driving the whole thing? And good question. So back it went into the cupboard for 20 years. And then when COVID struck, this is giving me the context where a guy, mythical guy, doesn't kind of exist really, doesn't have a sort of wife and kids and shine his shoes every day, whatever. He's a guy who goes out to look at the world, ask questions, not just make kind of philosophical pronouncements or something, but to ask questions of people about how do you put your lives together. And this just seemed to me, the context that was given to me, and I just felt I'm going to have to communicate this and see what happens.
Chris, it's so profound to me how many times we want to rush things and we may be ready, but the situation isn't ready. You
Yeah.
waited almost for your bride, in 2020
Good one.
to come along.
Yeah.
And it's so beautiful. Even the way you speak is very poetic. So thank you so much. This time goes by amazingly fast. And I would just say it's a beautiful way to help us connect the dots in our world.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for being here. And you are an author with Book Trail Agency. We thank you so much. Can you tell us where your book is available also?
Yes, so through my website, am I allowed to mention that?
Please do.
www.christophersteed.co.uk. And you'll find there a dozen other books that I've written. They're books, well, one's a novel and one's a book about um, violence in our world. The others are books of social commentary. And I traced a very big idea about the value and worth of human beings and traced that through all kinds of different domains in management thinking, in social theory, and psychology, and so on. In fact, I'm writing at this very moment a textbook for psychotherapy students. That's my day job, by the way.
Okay.
And I'm a public speaker as well. But I'm writing this to show that how we think about human beings and not trashing them is really so vital. But it's also part of our DNA. We need to be of high worth. We need to be of high value.
Chris, thank you for joining us today. Thank you
Thank you.
for valuing human life to the extent of sacrificially giving. Thank you.
Thank you.